What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Breakdown. And doing this early because we got some time. So I definitely want to hear from you guys out there. And definitely subscribe to this channel. And also follow me on Twitter. Twitter name is at OKCBoy. Same as it is on here on YouTube. So very easy to find. But I definitely want to get it going. We have the rematch. San Antonio Spurs and the Miami Heat. So I feel like, all year long, especially in the second half of the season, once the Spurs got it rolling, and everything, I feel like a lot of people felt like this would be the best matchup in the NBA Finals. And that's no disrespect to OKC and Indiana, but I feel like everybody, after what happened last year, with the series being very, very close in Game 6 and Game 7, I think we all felt like, this would be like the best. This would obviously be the best matchup. So as I'm talking, I'm going to be posting some stats between both teams, and it's kind of a mystery as far as which matchups are going to work here and there. What is kind of a mystery to me as far as what coaching moves both teams should make, because that's because, quite frankly, we don't get to see these teams play very often. And a lot of the games last year were blowouts, except for Game 1 and Game 6 and Game 7. Those were the obvious close games in the series last year. But for the Spurs, I mean, they had that heartbreaking Game 6 loss to the Miami Heat in last year's finals, and for them to just get back to this point, win or lose, that is quite remarkable. And for the Miami Heat, they're making their fourth straight NBA Finals appearance. So ever since LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh have been together, they have been through the Eastern Conference every time, ever since they have been together. So that is quite remarkable. No team has made four straight NBA Finals appearances since the Celtics did it, I believe, from 83 to 87. So tip your hats to Miami Heat there. So I want to get right into this. This is going to be, I think this is going to be another epic series. It may have 7 games written all over it, unless one team or another steals a game that they may have not should have won. But other than that, I think it's got 7 games written all over it. The finals format this year is 2-2, 1-1-1. The San Antonio Spurs do have the home court advantage. I wouldn't read too much into that unless it got to a Game 7. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like the Miami Heat can go into San Antonio and get a game, and I feel like San Antonio can go into Miami and get a game as well. So that's what makes these two teams so special. That's why these two teams are here, is because they have the ability to go on the road in hostile places and get a win. So I don't know if the home court really means a whole lot unless we get to that Game 7. And then that's where I think maybe the home court may play a factor. But you definitely can't count Miami out if it comes to a Game 7. Miami, I feel like the Spurs are a little bit better of a team than they were last year on paper. They got, their bench is obviously better. They've got Patty Mills coming off the bench, who they didn't have last year. And they also have a guy like Marco Bellinelli, who was not on their team last year. No disrespect to Gary Neal, but Marco Bellinelli can shoot, and he can put the ball on the floor and create a shot for himself as well. So the Spurs bench is definitely better than it was last year. And you got guys like Danny Green and obviously Kawhi Leonard, who are obviously a year older, so they're a little bit better as well. And then Ginobili, Parker, and Duncan, those guys are going to be steady. Those guys are going to be who they are. So I feel like the Spurs are a little bit of a better team than they were last year. Now let's flip it over to Miami. Coming into the playoffs, I didn't think Miami was as good as they were last year. But, hey, Miami's playing as good a ball as anybody, and that's why they're in the finals, because Miami decided to start playing good ball when the playoffs came. So, at this point, just what my eyes tell me, I can't tell that if Miami's not a better team than they were last year, because Miami is definitely playing Miami's playing their best ball of the year right now. And so I think that's what makes this matchup so special. And like I said, if you had to ask me between the two teams, I think collectively the Spurs have the better team. But Miami has the one player, and that's LeBron James. And a lot of times, if you go back to when the Chicago Bulls were playing teams, some teams may have had better teams collectively than the Chicago Bulls, but the one X factor is that the Bulls had Michael Jordan, and then also Miami has Dwayne Wade. So if Dwayne Wade is if Dwayne Wade plays the way that we've known Dwayne Wade to play throughout his career, it's definitely going to be tough on the San Antonio Spurs. But even if Dwayne Wade's just close to being the Dwayne Wade that we know, it's still going to be tough on the Spurs because, like I said, the Heat have that one player, and that is LeBron James. He is the best player in the NBA. So, I mean, if you had to ask me who was going to win, I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up. That's why I want to hear from you guys as far as who is going to win this series because the numbers are close. The Spurs have a good team collectively. Miami's got a good team, but they also have that one player in LeBron James. And then they have, Chris Bosh, D. Wade, and they've got some good role players too. So, it's definitely going to be, I think San Antonio has the advantage coaching-wise, but Eric Spoelstra has been known throughout his career in Miami he's been known to push all the right buttons whenever the right buttons are need to be pushed as far as matchups, putting one particular player on another particular player, inserting somebody into the lineup, inserting a player into the starting lineup. So we'll have to see what Eric Spoelstra comes up with this time. Whatever he comes up with, I think the Spurs are deep enough to be able to counter it. I think the Spurs can play a variety of different styles. If the Spurs want to play up and down, they can play up and down. They can also play half court. So looking at it from there, I don't know if there's anything that Spoelstra can do to necessarily. I don't know if there's anything Spoelstra can do to create a mismatch to where the Spurs can't match up to it, and vice versa. I don't know if there's anything the Spurs can do to create a mismatch where the Miami Heat can't match up to it, other than just try to pound it inside. But we've seen Miami deal with that. We've seen Miami deal with with obviously teams trying to pound it inside on them. So I don't think that's going to be necessarily a factor there. But like I said, I posted the numbers. You guys have seen the averages. Who do you guys think is going to win this series? How long will the series go? Who comes out on top? And I'm out of here.